Karen, we're probably only 30 seconds away. Are you nervous?
I'm very nervous.
I'm feeling a little nervous.
Come on. You have to be like the Begathon. Can we give them a $10 gift?
10 seconds.
Somewhere?
I'm going to do the show with the hood on.
Okay. I'm going to go to the bath. I'm going to Canada.
There you go.
Liquid
Loosen
latex.
up. Loosen up,
Oh, we're
Lindo.
at 5.
Here we go. Here we go.
Free.
And now, the two-time winner of the Pennsylvania Association of Broadcasters Award and the two-time winner of the Pennsylvania Associated Press Broadcasters Association Award, promoting and advancing the crafted microbrew culture in Northeast Pennsylvania. It's another edition of
The Friday Beer Buzz! And the Friday Beer Buzz, powered by Sabatini's Pizza in Exeter, one of the area's greatest selections of rare craft and imported beers. Growlers and Crowlers, a hand pump,
Oh, my.
and 36 rotating drafts. I got to do with one hand. At Sabatini's Pizza and Sabatini's Bar and Bottle Shop, Wyoming Avenue in Exeter.
And not a lot of people know this, but right before the Friday Beer Buzz gets on the air, we like to limber up here. We loosen up a little bit. Lindo's doing some stretching exercises. Lindo Sabatini.
I'm set.
You feeling good?
No, I'm good.
You good to go?
I'm good. I'm all stretched
All
out.
right, because we're underway. Here we go. Bill from mybeerbuzz.com.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Bill.
And we should say thank you to all the veterans on Veterans Day.
Veterans Day, yes, absolutely.
And we're on live on Facebook, and I said if we get 10 viewers in the next 20 seconds.
We got 8 right now.
We got 8. I will drink
9.
I will drink the liquid latex and the bloody scab left over from our Halloween show.
Wow. That is a challenge.
You wait till you smell the liquid latex. I almost lost my...
By the
quick,
way,
watch quick.
It's facebook.com/WILK radio.
Now we lost 2 people. I don't think they want to see this.
Thank you. We should mention, before we get our guest on the air, we should mention there's a great SABS event coming up next Wednesday, November 16th.
Okay.
Linda, tell us a little bit more about it.
Split between both buildings on the property. We're going to be doing a fantastic event between Prairie Brewing in Oklahoma and Free Will here in Pennsylvania. And both breweries really hooked us up with some really nice beers. We're going to have our Pilgrim Pizza, which is with turkey, stuffing, gravy, cranberry.
Pilgrim Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
There it is.
It's coming back. It's a fan favorite, but the bears are going to be amazing. We have 2 firkins. We're going to be tapping at 7 at the pizza shop. It's going to be a good time.
Great.
That sounds great.
And we had John Stemler on from Free Will a year or so ago. Really, really good beers. And 2 firkins. It's got to be good.
I should mention, Free Will's coming in full force. They're bringing a lot of people.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, we're going to have a good party.
This coming Wednesday.
The
16th of November.
Party.
I stopped by Learn to Home Brew Day at 17 on Saturday. I was there for a little while. And I'm talking to Lindo. Lindo, you threw a stat at me, and I don't know if you want to roll this out or not yet, but you mentioned something to me that was stunning.
Yeah, we found out last week from the people at Delirium in Belgium. They contacted the importer, which is Wet and Imports, and they told them that Sabatini's is the #1 Delirium Red purchaser on planet Earth. We passed out the Delirium Cafe in Bruges.
The actual Delirium Cafe in Belgium doesn't sell as much of that beer as you do.
I have no explanation.
Unbelievable.
Seriously. Right, it was a surprise, too, because when we had the Delirium Tower, we thought we were going to be selling a lot of Delirium.
What's the ABV
tremens.
on that beer anyway?
It's 8. It's 8%.
Pretty
It's
good.
a Belgian,
sneak up on
Belgian golden ale done with cherries. And some
So
other
Sabatini's in Exeter sells more of that beer than anywhere on the entire planet.
That's what we were told.
Now, Saturn is kicking butt.
Saturn's a bigger planet.
It's just planet Earth.
It's a much bigger planet, though. All right. That's unbelievable.
Congratulations. That really is a great stat.
It's amazing.
We have a guest joining us from Hershey, Pennsylvania, from the brewery at Hershey. We have Paul Vezzetti. Welcome to the Friday Beer Buzz,
Paul.
Hey, guys. How are you?
We're doing great.
So, Paul, the brewery at Hershey was founded in 2012, and it is Pennsylvania's first all-in-one winery and brewery. Explain the relationship there. I know there's a brewery, there's a winery, and we're going to talk something a little bit different today, but explain the relationship between the two.
Yeah, so when we first got started in 2012, we started with the winery, and then shortly thereafter, a year later, we decided that we wanted to offer craft beer as well. It just seemed like a pretty natural genesis for us, a natural progression from wine into beer. And really, it was a unique climate in PA where liquor privatization at the state level was trying to be pushed through, and it was again just a really unique opportunity for us to the joke has always been create the Disneyland of craft alcohol. We have the beer, we have the wine, and now we're starting to move into more and more of the craft cider as well.
I love that compare the Disneyland of craft beverages.
So I'm compelled to ask, Paul, are there any plans to add a distillery up there?
You know what? I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, we get that a lot. No, there aren't any plans for that. Not yet, at least.
Uh-huh.
We go to a great place in Nantucket, at the Ipswich Brewery. They have a distillery, a winery, and a brewery all in one common area. They have a common patio area where you can actually go get a beer or get a glass of wine or get a whiskey and walk out in this common area. And I got to tell you, it really works. So I think what you guys are doing, with beer, cider, and wine, I think is a wonderful thing because it keeps everybody happy.
It does, and I think you're going to see a lot more of that at local producers like us and elsewhere. The climate in the state of PA has really changed in the last couple years, and now wineries, even if they don't have their own craft brewery on site, are now allowed to sell craft beer if they purchase it from a PA producer.
So how did you get interested in making wine? What was the change in your life? What were you doing before you were a winemaker?
Sure. Well, I'm actually still doing it. I've always had an interest in making wine. I got started like a lot of people get started in doing homebrewing beer, homebrewing wine, just as a hobby. And one day I sort of had my quarter-life crisis sitting in my cubicle and decided I can't do that for the rest of my life if it's going to drive me nuts. So I just kind of set out to find some friends to help me go on this journey, and I was lucky enough to find some supportive friends that wanted to go on it with me.
And I know you planted some of the original vines down in Hershey.
I did, yeah. My wife and I planted about 900 vines that first year with nothing but a shovel.
Wow.
Jeez.
I get stressed out over planting like 20 corn plants, 900. Are there similarities, Paul? There must be between winemaking and cider making.
There are. In terms of the actual technical process, it's very, very similar. You start with a fluid, we'll call it. You start with a fluid that has sugar in it. It tastes great. It tastes great as it is, but we're adults and we think things generally taste better when there's alcohol in them. So we set about to turn all that sugar into alcohol by adding yeast. So in that respect, it's very similar. And the reason that I'm a little more interested in cider now is when somebody asks me to make a Chardonnay or when somebody asks me to make a Cabernet, there's really only so many styles of those particular varieties that you can make. Chardonnays are I don't want to say a dime a dozen, but, an oak Chardonnay is really an oak Chardonnay.
Sure.
You can't really make a Cabernet any other way than a dry red wine. When somebody asks me to make a hard cider, there's literally, hundreds and hundreds. The sky's really the limit.
And what is, you guys call it the DeCider. Where does the name come from?
Sure. All of the principal partners in our group are all friends. We're all family friends. And one of the things we generally like to do is to take a little retreat down to Colonial Williamsburg every year. It's something we've done for a very long time because we've always had an interest in colonial America. And that's really kind of where the genesis of the brand comes from, and I think that really plays out on the packaging design.
And we're going to taste two different ones today, and I got to admit right up
Well, I got to
front,
say I'm down to one.
Yeah, John's down to one already. John's only going to taste one. The first one is, you just mentioned the infinite number of flavors that you can put in a cider. This is not a flavor that I've had in a cider before, so let's first talk about presidential peanut butter. What made you decide to put peanut butter in a cider?
Sure. I don't want to say it was a dare, but it was a dare. A lot of the greatest products that we make at the vineyard at Hershey and the brewery always start off as a discussion with either myself or our brewer, and just bouncing things off of all the other principals in the group. And generally, what will happen is somebody will come up with a great idea, and somebody will say, "Oh, that'll never work. That'll never work. It sounds terrible." And that's kind of how the peanut butter got started, I came up with this idea because it's a great mix of flavors. You see peanut butter covered apples at fall festivals,
Sure, yeah.
and candy apples at fall festivals. We live in central PA, about 10 minutes away from apple country. It's everywhere. So if you can eat it on a stick, you might as well drink it in a glass, right? And it just kind of worked.
So and when you have you get together and you said sometimes everybody says, or someone will say, that'll never work. Did you ever have one where everybody all shook their head and said, geez, you're right? Like, maybe we should try pizza cider. No, I don't know if that's a good combination.
No, we've never. We're a group of very strongly held convictions, if nothing else, and we rarely, if ever, have 5 people always on the same boat.
Everybody's all on board at the same time.
So this cider,
there's always a naysayer.
This cider is 5% ABV, a number we're familiar with, but it's 9.8 bricks. Give us a quick. We're getting tight on time, but give us a quick explanation of bricks.
Sure. So bricks is really a measure of sugar content, and there's different ways of measuring sugar content. Bricks is kind of a winemaker's term.
Sure.
One of the things that you see in home brewing and in the trade, it's called a hydrometer. It's just a little weighted glass tool, and most of them, they're called tri-scale hydrometers. And the tri-scale description just really means that there's 3 scales on this measuring device. One is in bricks, one is in specific gravity, and to be honest, there's a third one, and I can't remember what it is because nobody ever uses it. Brewers will generally use specific gravity.
So in the beer world,
winemakers will generally use bricks.
It's what we call gravity in the beer world, and it helps you determine the ABV. We also have in front of us here articles of ImPearMent. I know based on the spelling that there's pear in this one. Tell us quickly about articles of ImPearMent.
Sure. So that's another one that kind of started off as a test batch. We did that originally with about 100 gallons of cider. We went out to my father's pear tree in our backyard in Pittsburgh and picked a bunch of pears a couple years ago, and that's how it got started. We're a small producer, and we try to do neat things. It's a little more about the cider itself, though. It's an apple cider base. It's made with one of the standard blends that we use, mostly Red Delicious, Cold Delicious, a little bit of Fuji, and some Stamen apples. And then we ferment that out, age it in bourbon barrels with the pear mash that I talked about, and then some vanilla. And it generally really comes out great. Sometimes there's a little funkiness from the barrels, but we generally like it.
Well, Paul, we've been sampling here this morning. I'm all out of peanut butter, but I'm halfway through the article.
Really nice. That one's 5% ABV, and we should thank Andrew Staub for helping set this up. He's from the York County Visitors Bureau down there.
L. Paul Vezzetti is not only the vineyard manager and winemaker, but cider maker as well at the brewery at Hershey. Paul, thanks for being on our show this morning.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Right,
thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. The Friday Beer Buzz, powered by Sabatini's Pizza in Exeter, one of the area's greatest selections of rare craft and imported beers. Growlers and Crowlers, a hand pump, and 36 rotating drafts, all at Sabatini's Pizza and Sabatini's Bar and Bottle Shop, Wyoming Avenue in Exeter.
This is the Friday Beer Buzz, bringing good beers and good people together.
Yeah.